Awesome. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for coming along on your lunchtime to the third Tuesday of the month lunchtime tech sessions. We're really excited with today's speaker, but I'll let Marion introduce her very shortly. Just going to start with a few quick updates. First of all, just introducing to you our 6 annual sponsors. We've got the UC Business School that's bringing you the most relevant MBA program and executive education program in the country. They've given us a special deal to talk to you about today. AWS, known for their infrastructure services, but are actually ready to assist companies with all sorts of different things. Go back to the beginning there. We've got Lumen PDF, a global yet Christchurch headquartered business. They're giving you PDF editing software. Really awesome team. If you want an intro, let me know. Stratus Technology Partners, David, their CEO, has been a long time supporter and committee member of Canterbury Tech. We're very happy to have their support ongoing. Integration Works, small team in Christchurch, but expanding pretty quickly. They're pretty niche, just doing integration work, and they're actually helping Canterbury Tech out with integrating some of our systems at the moment, which is exciting. And Crescent Consulting, another fabulous Canterbury recruitment company here for your technology hiring needs. The UC School of Business has given us an awesome discount for the first, just flick back, Jen. We've got two courses that they're just starting up, which is the Introduction to Intellectual Property Strategy, and they've also got a Product Management Boot Camp. That's just 2 of their courses, but those are the intellectual property one is a new one in the executive education. They look pretty interesting. If you would like to book your spot, you can get a 10% discount if you're a Canterbury Tech member. You just need to email them at execed@canterbury.ac.nz. Next slide, please. And you can see the email address there. Just be careful, it does autocorrect to exceed. So it's execed@canterbury.ac.nz, and just mention your membership tier to take advantage of that discount. We also have some awesome events coming up for you this month. The Power Up series. Last month we ran a workshop with, we had a really amazing group of women who are wanting to either re-enter the workforce or are looking to start in tech, and they were learning how to explain their transferable skills, so things which they've had in their career previously. And on Tuesday, March the 28th, from 5 to 7:30ish, we're running a networking event. Now we're looking for employers who have open roles to come along. We already have 50 job-seeking women registered who either already have amazing tech skills, are training in tech currently, or are wanting to transfer from an existing career into a tech-focused career. So if you are an employer who has open roles, I urge you to sign up for that. We've had some amazing placements, hearing from Forbury, Naitahu, Datacom, all sorts of people have hired directly from people that they've met at this networking. And I met an amazing woman the other day, just arrived from Silicon Valley with 20 years experience in amazing product management, and she might be there. So if you're looking for one of those kind of people, there's some really high caliber candidates coming through. We also have our first of the month, Tuesday, 4th of April. This is going to be a pretty interesting one with Mike Roberts from Mill Pond. They're a local professional services organization, but they're real specialists in project management. So they're going to be talking about all things about leadership and managing projects, stakeholders, and how to create those foundational relationships which makes things a success. When we're all trying to save money at the moment, it's a great thing to try keep those projects on the right track. So those tickets will be available later today. They'll go live. Jen can give us an update later. And Tech Week is coming up in May. So we're getting ready for Tech Week at the moment. Tech Week is going to be next slide, from the 13th to the 20th of May, but we're going to be running a series of events from Monday to Friday at the Epic Centre. So we're going to create a Tech Week hub, and we're inviting people if they'll be interested in presenting to any one of these topics. So we've got Future of Transport Monday, Future of Health Tuesday, the Future of Food and Climate Resilience on Wednesday, Future of Business on Thursday, and the Future of Tech on Friday. So on Thursday, we are going to be holding, the Code Club is going to have a special event for 50 students. So if you're a parent of young kids that haven't tried out coding before, or just dabbling in it now and you want to get them excited, bring your kids along, get yourself a ticket and register for that, because it's going to be a pretty amazing event. We'd love to have lots of people from the tech community bringing their tech excited kids along to find out more. And on the Friday, we're going to be running a monster meetup, so encouraging all of the meetup organisers in the Canterbury region to come together and have a party and celebrate what we're doing. So if you're interested in finding out more about going to meetups, organising meetups, or just want to know what's available, that'll be something to register for as well. So that'll be released probably next week. I think the Tech Week website goes live. And Tech Tuesday. So this is what we're up to now, is we're trying to increase the number of cool events that we've got. So the first Tuesday of the month is always that in-person monthly event. The second Tuesday, we're inviting the New Zealand Tech Alliance to bring awesome events to the South Island. So last month we had the AI Forum, which we hosted, and we'll be working with the NZ Tech Alliance groups like NZ Blockchain and Agri-Tech New Zealand and all these to bring more interesting specialized content for us on that second Tuesday. And this is the Lunchtime series. And then the fourth Tuesday, we're focusing on our skills shortage and connecting employers and employees together in training courses. So that's kind of what our calendar looks like. If you want to get on the calendar and not forget anything ever again, you can actually subscribe to it if you go to our website, canterburytech.nz, and go to the calendar. If you scroll to the bottom, you can then click the subscribe button and add it to your work calendar, so you'll never forget what's on again. You do still have to register for events, but you'll know what's on every Tuesday there. And we've got all the meetups and stuff are starting to put their events on those calendars too. So I'm just going to hand you over to Marion Matai, who's the General Manager of Catalyst South Island and our Treasurer and very active committee member. She's also, you've just begun a new service as a sustainability consultant as well. So I'm interested to hear about that. Marion's going to introduce our speaker for today. Thanks, Marion.
Thank you, Louisa. Thanks very much. Welcome, everyone. Kia ora koutou, ko Maria Matai tōku ingoa. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Bronwyn Scott to you. She is the General Manager of Digital Future Aotearoa. Bronnie today will present on the road to digital equity. What is digital equity, why it is important, and what needs to happen to achieve digital equity in Aotearoa. Bronnie has a really interesting background. She, in her previous life, worked as a commercial pilot and flying instructor for about 10 years before skyrocketing into the world of technology as a contract specialist, team leader, and project manager. Well done on that career change, Bronnie. So today she's, as I mentioned, the General Manager of Digital Future Aotearoa, and she's heavily involved in digital equity programs in New Zealand as the co-lead of 2 DECA constellations. So DECA stands for Digital Equity Coalition Aotearoa. So I'll hand over to Bronnie now, and while she's speaking, please feel free to post questions in the channel that is visible to everybody. I'll grab those questions at the end and we'll discuss them with Bronnie. Over to you, Bronnie. Thank you.
Kia ora, everybody. Let me see if I can do the old share my screen situation. I think I might need Jen to stop sharing hers.
You should have access now.
Here we go. Here we go. Alrighty, hopefully everybody can see that. You can hear me all good. All right. Tēnā koutou, ko Bronwyn Scott tōku ingoa. E mihi ana ki ngā mana whenua o te rohi nei. E tipu aki au ki te mātua Maui. E noho ana au ki Aotearoa. E mahi ana au hei kai whakahaere ki Digital Future Aotearoa. E mihi ana ki a koutou. Hello everyone, my name is Bronwyn Scott and I'd like to pay respects to the mana whenua in each region that we're joining from today. A little bit about me. I was raised in Bridgepa and I moved to Aotearoa about 5 years ago. Not sure if anybody here has ever been to Bridgepa. It's just outside of Hastings. There's not really that much there, about 200 houses. There's 2 marae, an airfield and a prison. I grew up next to that airfield and it had me reaching for the skies. So it was a natural path for me to take into becoming a pilot. And then I got sidetracked by life, travel, the GFC, and ended up working at Kāinga Auto doing project and contract management in the ICT group, having never worked in tech before. And I've been working in tech ever since. And most recently, I'm the General Manager of Digital Future Aotearoa. You might not have heard about DFA, but you probably heard of some of our programs, which some of them are Code Club and Recycler Device. But I'll fill you more in on our kaupapa towards the end. Now, I went to the Canterbury Tech Summit in November, which was awesome. So thanks to the Canterbury Tech team for putting that on. And one of the presentations that really stuck out for me was Ellie Archer's presentation, No Hair Queer, Where Are You From? Which got totally sidetracked from her intent in a really awesome way. And if you weren't there, basically everybody that was in that lecture hall stood up and talked about where they were from. So in that spirit, I'd really like to know where everybody's from or beaming into today. So if the chat's up and running, we can test it if you're comfortable. And if you'd like to share, please pop where you're from in the chat and we can go from there. Well, that's coming in. Can everybody please go and open an incognito browser? And go to onegoodkiwi.nz. One Good Kiwi is a Vodafone initiative, and they're giving away $100,000 each month to a variety of pre-selected charities. Digital Future Aotearoa is one of those charities, and this month Recycler Device is the one that's going to be getting their portion of the cash. But to get that portion, we need people to go and vote for us. And doing that in an incognito browser, you guys are tech people, you know what's going on. You can give us more tokens. So you automatically get to give 5 tokens away. So if you could scroll down, find Recycler Device and flick us those tokens as we go, that would be amazing. Thank you very much. And feel free to do it multiple times while I'm talking too, just saying. All right, so why are we here today? We're here to learn about digital equity, what it is, why it's important, and what needs to happen to achieve digital equity in Aotearoa. I also need to begin by saying that I don't have all of the answers. I don't pretend to have all of the answers. I've got some ideas, but I hope that you'll have a little bit more of an understanding at the end of this and learn quite a bit. All right, so what is digital equity? If you've seen this diagram, awesome. If you haven't, it's a great visual summary of what equity is. Basically, it means fairness, which isn't the same thing as equality. And this image doesn't consider what was overcome to actually get to the fence to even be able to watch this game. Digital equity is the ultimate goal where everyone can access and effectively use digital technologies. So to participate in our society, democracy, and the economy. The initiatives and activities undertaken to achieve equity are referred to as digital inclusion. Initiatives like making sure there's access to devices, to the internet, opportunities to gain skills and confidence, and doing that in an equitable way by providing that access and support to where it's needed most. So there's fair chances for everybody to participate in the digital economy. Hopefully you're all still with me. Now I know you'll be data people, so let's look at some data. So estimates show that there's at least 10% of our population that are digitally excluded, and depending on the report, it can be up to 20%. So this is talking about people who have limited digital literacy, they lack access to the internet or a computer, they have financial barriers, they have general literacy issues, language barriers, or disability. The Citizens Advice Bureau put out this really cool report. I've got a link into it in a couple of slides' time. But their report and their research found that 10% of people who visited Citizens Advice are digitally excluded, and that goes across all ages, genders. There's a high representation of Māori and Pacific peoples in that 10%. People who also experience other inequalities resulting in poorer health outcomes, lower educational achievements, and greater material hardship. And those people report feeling disempowered. Exclusion is not just from participating in the digital world, but from being able to participate in society more generally. Losing the ability to be digitally connected could have a disproportionately disastrous impact on people in vulnerable times or when moving through a life transition, something that we've seen with the recent cyclone and floods. And genuine inclusion is about supporting people's ability to choose how they interact and ensuring that other channels of communication stay open. Digital technology can be a tool for good, making people's lives better and enhancing well-being, and I'm sure we can all agree with that. But likewise, we can also see that some of our services like Passport, KiwiSaver, MSD services and education are being shifted to being available online, and some services have the only digital policy. Which means that we're actively disempowering a significant portion of the population and making their lives harder. So that's why digital equity is really important, one of the many reasons. It's getting more support to where it's needed so people can succeed in the digital world. Now, while technology is kind of the problem, it's also very much a solution. Supporting the road to digital equity is crucial for the tech sector to continue to grow and flourish in the future, not just from a workforce perspective, but also from an end user perspective too. I found some really cool stats because I know those data people are here about the tech sector and how it's growing. We need more talented people. Our world is becoming increasingly digital, and we need to be able to make sure that people are able to take part. We need to nurture our own population to make sure our sector keeps thriving. We need to continue to support those dealing with barriers to inclusion to become digitally literate so they're able to participate in society. And we also need to provide educational opportunities to future generations so they're able to move from being passive consumers of technology to active creators and innovators. All right, so hopefully you've got a bit of an understanding now about digital equity and why it's important. So let's move on to the what we can do about it part. The government put out what they call the Digital Inclusion Blueprint, and they identified 4 interdependent elements which are all needed for a person to be digitally included. The first one's motivation, and see it's got a lovely acronym there. Motivation, so that's understanding how the internet and the digital world can help us connect and learn and access opportunities and having a meaningful reason to engage. There's access, so that's having access to devices, services, software, the internet, and so that we can access the information that meets our needs. There's skills, so that's knowing how to interact with the internet and the digital world in beneficial ways. And lastly, there's trust, so that's having trust in the internet and online services, being digitally literate to operate safely and with confidence. So every single thing that we do as we move towards digital equity needs to have these elements as a baseline. Before I go and talk about some of the equitable programs happening across the motu, to achieve equitable outcomes, we need to do this mass stuff, but we also need to collaborate. The type of collaboration that I'm talking about here isn't the type where you have one conversation with someone and then you include them in your RFP response saying that you work together. No. This type of collaboration is where you have community at the table participating in equitable outcomes, and that helps hugely with trust. So on that trust bend, I want to do a little experiment on trust and have a think back to when you were younger and trying to figure out what to do with your life. Do you become a teacher? Do you become a nurse? Do you become a pilot like I did because I was continually looking at planes in the sky? Do you become a builder? How did you decide on tech? For me, I kind of fell into it, right? And I've stayed there ever since. But how did you find out? Did you know somebody that told you that you might be a good programmer or you might be a good project manager? So pop in the comments about who, how, or why you went down the tech path. Hopefully we've got some results coming in there. Can't see much because I've changed my screen around. So I'm hopeful that all of your answers will show that you knew somebody who worked in tech, who showed you something, got you interested, nurtured your interest, and then, hey, blammo, there you go. You're on the pathway to an amazing tech career. And if it was somebody that created that spark in you, that happened because you trusted them. So trust got you working in tech. Again, have another think. What about the 10 to 20% of digitally excluded people who don't know anybody, who don't know what a programmer is, who have never heard of AI, don't know anybody who works in tech, or if they do, they think that you're a basement dweller. There's lots of people out there who don't know that it's an option for them. For example, recently our Recycle a Device program went into an alternate education provider in one of the regions in the Waikato, and there was one Māori rangatahi there who had been kicked out of every single school that he'd been to. He didn't know how to engage effectively with his education. He had been violent. Those kids that when you're at school, they can't engage, and it's because they don't know how. And they haven't had the options available to them, which makes education and learning fun. yet. So this particular person, he didn't know that he was interested in digital technologies. We had him there picking up screwdrivers, pulling laptops to pieces. He loved it, absolutely loved it. And he is now leading their RAD club. And now he has an entry into the tech sector that hopefully he can, find that pathway a bit further on in his learning. So if somebody got you interested in tech, how have you been able to pass that spark on? How have you helped somebody realize that a career in tech was an option for them? How have you, help somebody get that spark? How have you helped somebody gain digital literacy skills? My challenge for you is to see if you can plant the tech seed in others. While there are some amazing initiatives out there building the digital capability of Aotearoa, they can't do it alone, and we need to all be on that road to digital equity. In saying that, I'd love to share with you about Digital Future Aotearoa's kaupapa, as well as some other initiatives that are inspiring the next generation. And hopefully you'll be able to see where you might be able to get involved. All right, so Digital Future Aotearoa is a charity and we have 5 free programs. Code Club is a volunteer-led network of Learn to Code clubs where tamariki aged between about 7 to 13 get together weekly to learn. Recycle a Device, which I just mentioned a little bit about, is an initiative which takes donations of used laptops, teaches rangatahi how to refurbish them, and then gives those laptops to people who need them. Our Digital Pico is a backpack of tech projects which we've developed and are constantly adding to that you can access as rainy day activities at home, in the classroom, or at Code Club. Our Giants Grow competition brings digital technology to the veggie garden by growing massive sunflowers and pumpkins. And our Ōtautahi outreach is a side-along in-classroom mentorship of teachers to build confidence and skill in delivering the digital technologies curriculum and interweaving it into other learning areas like literacy, numeracy, the arts, and PE. And it's not just all about DFA. There are some amazing other programs out there that I recommend that you take a look at. The first one is Fibre Whale, which creates platforms and opportunities which look to increase Pacific people to enter tech careers. There's Tōnui CoLab, which is a specialist bilingual STEM education lab. And STEM in this case has 2 M's. There's science, tech, engineering, maths, and mātauranga Māori. They're based in Tairāwhiti. Take 2 supports justice impacted people to get back on their feet. They run tech training for inmates and support them into employment and beyond. And I just want to plant this seed out there. Do all people working in tech need to have a clean record? And if so, why? Why not? What's going on there? The 2020 Trust has been around for ages. They provide digital literacy upskilling opportunities in the community, and the Digital Natives Academy. They offer the chance for rangatahi to bring out their creative and tech side in a holistic way, and they run some really cool esports stuff too. So how can you get involved? Well, if you're a professional tech sector person, look at ways to how you can share your knowledge with others and cast that equity lens over everything you do, from writing code to inspiring others. The other thing, of course, is that Digital Future Aotearoa and these initiatives that are up on the screen now, they're all charities who are fully reliant on funding to continue. So if you can't give time, maybe you can give some cash. So that's me. pretty much. There's my contact information if you ever wanted to reach out, and there's some links there on some of the stats and data that I shared. I'm ready for the Q&A, but while we get ourselves sorted for that, please go back to your incognito browser and flick rad some more tokens.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bronnie. I must admit, I tried to go to that page, and I think it wants me to download an app unless I did something wrong. So,
oh yeah. So they want your data, right? So they want you to download the app.
That's why they know.
Yeah, okay. But there's if you scroll down the page, you should be able to flick 5 tokens our way. But if you do the app, you get 10 tokens.
Oh, right. Okay, interesting. That's good. And excellent. Thank you. And then, yeah, I couldn't find the digital.
Well, it's recycle a device is the one that's on there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's a search box somewhere, obviously, where we can search for recycle a device.
Yeah, you should be able to it's like a horizontal scrolling option on there.
Oh, I see. Okay, could you drop a link in there? Somebody, Jen, or could you drop a link in there about that site that Bronnie mentioned?
It's one good Kiwi.nz. Yeah.
.nz, yeah.
That's the one.
Cool, excellent. So while the questions come through, I've got a couple of questions here. So to join Code Club, would you have to be a developer to volunteer at Code Club, or are there other options as well?
No, so Code Clubs, it relies on having volunteers organise their little club, but you don't have to be a developer. You don't really have to have much tech skills at all, because you just need to be able to organise and understand all of the projects that are available at Code Clubs step by step, and hopefully you can kind of work your way through them. But no, absolutely not. You don't have to be a developer to be a Code Club volunteer.
Excellent. So that's really easy. So as long as they know the steps, they know what to do before they walk into the classroom, this is actually quite an easy thing.
Pre-preparation thing is always a good idea. Yeah.
And how much preparation is usually required? Just sort of on average per class?
Well, it depends where you're starting from, but I mean, the good thing about Code Club is we've got we've got the support that you need there. So if you're a new volunteer, there's an onboarding process, and you get handheld through what's required and what needs to happen. And if you've got any questions about anything, then our team are there to support you with that. Okay, but Code Clubs are generally an hour a week, so whatever it takes you to prep for that day is what's there.
Awesome, thank you. So I have a question from James. In one of the earlier images in the presentation, there were 3 people watching sport, one needing more boxes than the others. He says, I never understood from this image if it's implying equality of outcome, or if it is somehow suggest equality of opportunity. Could you comment on which you think is the goal here? Equality of opportunity or outcome, and why that is the right goal and not the other?
Yeah, I actually think it's both. It would be amazing if everything had positive, equitable outcomes, but it's also the opportunity to have those initiatives as well. I think I mentioned that the image, while it represents equity versus equality, it doesn't represent the fight or the journey to get to that fence to watch the game to start with. And that's often forgotten in these kind of images, because you can only say so much. Hopefully that answers your question there.
Thank you. And Gary, I think, reflects that both equality of outcome looks to ensure people who are disadvantaged are making gains. Equality of opportunity looks to ensure that everyone has the same opportunities to make those gains.
Thanks, Gary. Good to see
Well
Bridgepar representing here. Gary and I are both from Bridgepar.
Oh, fantastic. Clearly you've been talking. Another question, are there any studies done about how the digital exclusion affects different age groups?
Yeah, the Office for Seniors has done quite a lot on what it's like for seniors, and the 2020 Trust, they do a lot of work in the senior space as well. Most of it's around digital literacy side of things, and that's mostly service-based. Our kaupapa focuses mainly on rangatahi because it's, you need to set people up with good foundations so they can self-determine their way through life with as many options as possible. But as for research, there's not that much research out there about digital equity. It's quite difficult to gain that information. So I don't really know if I have a definitive answer, but there is some out there.
Tim mentioned something about BNZ digital skills for life in Aotearoa might be a good start. What the Tim, I think you mentioned it was a response to Robin up above. Another question around laptops, dropping off laptops at recycle device. Where can we drop laptops off in Christchurch?
Yeah. So we have Saltworks in town. There's a drop-off location there. There's also a drop-off location at Epic in the South City Mall, Hornby Mall. But before you go and drop any devices off anywhere, Bex is on this call and she will be very happy for me to say that just drop us a line, drop us an email first, and we can give you all the information that you need about dropping a device off. And it doesn't have to be Christchurch. If there's people listening from other parts of the country, there's drop-off locations all over the country, and if you're not near one of those, we can facilitate just dropping it or sending it to our warehouse in Auckland.
Awesome, thank you.
So, and before you do that, any device, any laptop that's less than 10 years old and has a charger, we can make into something that's useful.
Great, fantastic, such a good project. Anchor Grover made a comment, case studies around the success of the UFB project gives a lot of information on digital equity and divide here in New Zealand.
Yeah, it sure does.
Excellent. Any other questions from anybody? Sorry. One question, what does DECA stand for?
DECA is the Digital Equity Coalition Aotearoa, and that's basically a group of people and organisations who are all working towards digital equity. You can visit their website, it's digitalequity.nz. Yeah, and there's lots of different constellations because there's different facets of digital equity. I co-lead the Waitaha Canterbury constellation of that alongside Ali Archer and Josh Huff from Core Education, and also I co-lead the Digital Devices and Inclusion constellation with Warren Williams, who's the CE of 2020 Trust. There's also one about affordable connectivity, which is a huge thing at the moment. It's making sure that there's options for those who don't have access to the internet to get them.
Yes, very important. And so if there was one take away for people today, what would that be?
One takeaway, that would be cast an equity lens over everything that you do. Include it, if you're a developer, include it in what you do there, include it in your business decisions, include it in how you can help others. Yeah, if you cast that lens, that equity lens over everything, that would be amazing.
And can we email you and give you a call to get some advice on that, potentially?
Of course, of course.
Thanks very much, Bronnie. I'll hand back to you, Louisa. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So just a few wrap-up things there. Code Club will be happening on Thursday, May the 18th in the afternoon. So if you have kids that are interested in coding and you want to come find out about that, bring your kids along. Our secret hope is that you'll come along and love it so much with your kids that you'll want to volunteer as well. So let's have a look at the Code Club website, and you can find out about local schools that you might be able to volunteer at, or other community locations. Also, if you have a laptop that is still got a little life in it, and you've got the cable, that's the cable you need, you got to have the cable, and it's got to be less than 10 years old, then you can drop that off at Epic Centre when you're coming to Tech Week as well. And it's the end of the financial year, so if you've just got a little bit left in the pot and you need somewhere to put it as a donation, I'm sure that all of those amazing opportunities there to really help people in the community. So please consider giving to those particular initiatives run by Digital Futures Aotearoa. Thanks, everybody, and get in touch if you want more information. We'll put some more information in our newsletter this year. And Bronwyn's email is in the chat there, perfect. So if you want to get in touch with her directly, please do. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.